to Mandy. She's the lead actress from an amazing short film called Pick Up, which is in competition at our festival in Nice. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
And you. So could you, you don't have to look at the camera actually when you did. Could you give us a brief synopsis about the film?
Yeah, so Pick Up is a film about a woman with this double life, and she has this addiction, a sex addiction, which is what kind of holds her back from living a truthful, organic life.
Because she's a family woman, isn't
yes.
she? She's married. She's got a
she's
boy.
Married,
she's
she
got
has
a boy.
A 4-year-old child.
Yeah. Okay. Did you know her, in inverted commas, backstory in terms of, was it fleshed out for you before you took the role on?
It was somewhat fleshed out. I had a little bit of a role in creating the character because I approached the writer and I said, I want to do something very dark and edgy. And I at first said, I want to do something about addiction, but not anything that's cliche, been done a million times. So I thought...
so you may be implying drug or alcohol addiction. That's the first thing I'm thinking. Right,
well,
okay.
and I said, I'm interested in exploring this idea of sex addiction because it's not something that's talked about a lot. And then when I thought about it, I was like, oh wow, this is really interesting. I found some YouTube videos and articles.
Because I always think of blokes when I think, and that's the other thing as well, which is, I know stereotyping, but I'm sorry.
Yes, no, it's absolutely true, and that is another reason why I thought it would be great to do it, because it's even more of a stigma, because when it's a woman, it's even more looked down upon, right? Because especially as a woman filmmaker, especially, right? It's hard to put something out there like that, but I guess that's why I kind of wanted to do it, just kind of jump in.
And my, because I've seen it a couple of times actually, but this is just my feeling watching the film. I got the feeling she wasn't even enjoying the sex.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to know, because actually the husband's beginning to suspect, actually, I think that's obvious, isn't it, at some point towards the end, that he knows there's something going on. I would really want to know, but then I suppose this was deliberate with the film, what it was that was making her choose. I'm not saying she had an idyllic lifestyle, no one has that, but she had a kind of lifestyle I imagine a lot of people would kill for. So she had the child,
right.
Husband. You got the impression it was kind of a lawyer, some kind of money making, I don't know, lived in this lovely house, but I would want to know what it was that was driving her to do this.
Right.
And if you're not enjoying that kind of addiction, why on earth would you have this like meaningless sex? We should point out, although it's an incredible role, it's not actually graphic, but that doesn't stop it being intense, actually, does it?
Yeah.
So actually, that's kind of the questions I'm framing. Well, that's my opinion. And do you want to sort of comment on that? Am I right or not really?
Yeah. So I think what kind of interested me in this topic to begin with is what is behind that, what leads to that, what leads to any kind of addictions. And I think just from research that I've done, from knowing people that suffer from depression on any level, I think that's where it starts, because it's like depression, bipolar, any kind of anxiety always leads to some kind of addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, sex, you name it. There's all kinds of outlets, but I think because it was the sex addiction had to do with a lack of connection in the marriage.
I know, yes, I get that. Yeah.
Right,
because he came across as quite cold, actually, the husband, though, didn't he? Yeah.
Yes.
So.
And also, it wasn't, which I loved about Jim's performance, is that, and the
he's
way
really
it was
good.
written, he's fantastic.
He's really good.
And the reason it was written that way is we didn't want him to. It wasn't that he was oblivious. It was almost that he was kind of in his own world and not really. He wasn't really aware until the very end, and that's, I think, the biggest thing is that my character wanted is for him to have more awareness of her, of her needs, of her loneliness.
Do you think their marriage was fixable? I know it could be, but what I mean by that is, because that wasn't explored because, of course, it's a short film. You want to do fundamental things in time, but I kind of was left thinking about that. Actually, it was like, okay, if he truly knew what was going on, could they fix this marriage? Because the sex was meaningless. Yes. Perhaps they could. Yeah. That's again my impression, you see, but it was wonderfully left open for you to.
Well, it's something that, and that's one of the reasons I love the ending, is because it's left open.
Yeah.
And that is one of the comments I gave to the writers. I love this ending because it allows the audience to make a decision for themselves.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, they have this huge blow up or this huge fight. No, it's devastating because you're like, oh my God, what happens now? Or do they go home? Do they have an argument? Do they actually talk about it? Or does this just continue on and on and on?
Yeah, I don't think it can continue because this is a kind of scenario where it's like, either we fix it now, it's over, isn't it?
It's either that or she's so far gone that she is not only numb to it, but what are the next steps? Like you're saying, is she almost suicidal? That's what I think, because there's a combination of guilt and shame, but then there's also numbness. So I don't know. It could go so many different ways.
And you didn't know if this was something that was brand. I suspect that it wasn't something that happened until relatively recently. So I'm not saying feel that she wasn't jumping into bed with lots of different guys until a particular moment in time.
Yes, and that's something that I had not thought about prior to doing the film, but I do realize now, if we were ever to expand the film, that's what I would want to do, is explore how did they get to this point, where did that moment happen, because at some point they were a great couple, right?
They must have been to have got married and have a child, yes. They must have been deeply in love, and as we all know in marriages and relationships, you've got to work it and things go wrong, and yeah, of course, it's interesting you said you wanted an edgy role, but what drove you to want an edgy... Did you say you'd done edgy roles before?
I have, yes.
But is this on another level?
Yes, absolutely.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when the role... Okay,
yeah.
I want this is me being you from... Okay, I want an edgy role, give it to me. I've been given this, I'm like, fuck, right, okay.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what it was?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I actually put it off for a long time. I didn't want
making
to
the decision?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't until I met my director and I sent him the script and I said, take a look at this, see what you think. And
did you come close to saying no?
Did I come close?
Yeah.
No, because at that point, my whole reason behind doing the film to begin with was I wanted to create a platform as an actor to raise the stakes with where my career is at now. I wanted to really have a calling card so that I could, find good representation or just meet new filmmakers.
Yeah, and it's a great, not proof of concept, I don't mean that, but it is a great resume film. Can I call it that? Would you mind if I call it that? Because if someone says, we need... Okay, we see loads of actors. We want someone that can prove they can really act. I know they can all really act. I get that.
Right.
But then you're going to show that to them. I'm sure that's not why you took the role. You probably took brilliant writing. But actually, it's a great calling card, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Because you can't turn around and go,
well,
this woman can act.
Right.
Obviously, and if she can act in this and do that kind of stuff,
Yeah, and that's exactly why I did it, because I wanted to. I started in the business as a dancer, so I worked professionally as a dancer for many years, and had sort of a difficult time transitioning.
To movies?
To film and TV, because I've been doing film and TV for the past 10 years or so, but it's been hard to find projects that are good quality or just something that's seen on a wider scale. So that was a big motivating factor for me to actually make this happen. And
I hope you don't mind me asking this, but it'd be interesting to know when you kind of knew you can do the role, or were thinking about doing the role, because you're married, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I assume you've discussed with your husband. And how did you? I'm not trying to delve into your privacy, not about it. It's more a case of I'm just interested to know how you talked it through and decided, but that you was definitely going to take the role. I mean, ultimately, it's your decision. I get that, of course, but
it's my husband, he's in the arts, so he's in this world.
Right, okay, so that's already an advantage, isn't it?
It is, because he understands. He had a hard time watching it, so did I. We both sat there, really, it's upsetting to watch. I only
It's hard to watch.
It's very hard to watch, yeah.
And it's been filmed, again, just putting this out, the sheen of the film, the look of the film is quite drab.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the right word, and that's obviously deliberate.
Yeah.
There is it's not soulless, but it's been filmed in a quite a it's almost as though the light's been stripped out of some of the film, yeah?
Yeah.
But that's presumably a metaphor for the film itself.
Right.
But anyway, sorry, I'm interrupting, but it is quite hard to watch. So yeah, I can only imagine what it was like to actually go through the bloody filming process. Actually,
right. I mean, and actually, well, to answer that question, I think I briefly told you before, but I do this a lot. I guess it's part of being an actor and having that impulsive nature. It's that doing the role and leading up to it, I was actually okay with it, and I was like, let's do it. I was really excited. But it wasn't until after I saw the finished product and when it was really...
Well, that's when it really hit you?
Yes.
Well, more than... Because I was about to ask you how you felt literally the night before you were going to start filming.
Well, obviously I definitely was a little nervous and I was feeling that anxiety. But because I was so committed to... Because I had a strong commitment to putting out something great out there, it didn't faze me as much until after we were already done. And the director started sending it off to industry people for feedback, that I was really
because it's out
nervous,
there. It's out there
worried.
then, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
And just knowing that, even though obviously it's not online for anybody to see, it's still the fact that...
And it's filmed well. It is filmed non-gratuitously, so we should point this out. Okay.
Yeah. So it is the after effect of, oh my God, people are actually going to see this.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes, I'm trying to be more comfortable with the idea, and people are telling me it's such a great film.
You're brilliant. I mean, you're brilliant in it. That's your point.
You.
You're really, really good actor.
It's just something, thank you. I'm just not used to that yet. But I'm slowly trying to be more comfortable.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've done this great film, and of course, everyone's going to be seen it. And like I say, I saw a couple of people, I think, talking to you today, and probably saying the same as I. And there's no doubt about it, your performance is really good. But then the juxtaposition is the nature of the material that you're filming.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I mean, I don't know if it's actually mentioned, but it's basically a Tinder-esque kind of app we're talking about here. I don't know if it's Tinder you use, I can't remember for some reason.
Yeah, it was Tinder, I believe. Yeah. I actually had never heard about Tinder until I read the script.
You didn't know Tinder?
I didn't even know of it.
I know of it.
What?
Yeah, I know of it, but because I mean, obviously I don't. I'm not. It's not on my phone. Why would it be on my phone? You know.
Yeah.
Do you know what? For me, also the reflection was, I wonder how many, because God only knows, men and women have this vacuous kind of life.
Yeah.
Where you may not be in a relationship, maybe they're in relationships, and they're doing this for whatever reason, and it did shine a light on that. But I bet it goes on more than we think.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's kind of why we wanted to make this, because again, it's not just about the specific. It's not about the sex. It's about it's about the universal concept of the loneliness that people feel on different levels, and really just kind of waking people up to pay more attention, and don't get too, or it's not meant to be preachy, obviously.
Be complacent or whatever. Yeah.
Complacent is a great. Yeah, exactly.
For me, it was. For me, it was all about why is she doing this.
Yeah.
What's driving her to do this, and the relationship with her husband, and I mean, he, like I said earlier, the marriage was in serious trouble.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
But I really, really wanted to know what, as I said a moment ago, I really wanted to know what caused this breakdown, and why there was this horrendous split between them. What caused that? Because, like I said, she looked like she had a great lifestyle, but obviously there was a huge problem. But did you say this could be a feature?
That's
or a
the
sequel,
idea
I don't know.
When she wrote it and she sent it to me, that's the first thing I thought of, is that, oh wow, the way you ended it makes me think of actually in the future expanding it into a feature film, and kind of going back in time from when their relationship started. Maybe they were very young, and over time. And actually, I had thought about, in a perfect world, I would want Jennifer Connelly to play.
Do you know what? Yeah.
The
because
version of me older, and then I play a younger version of her.
Because you do. I can see, because you've got the same kind of look to you that she has.
Right.
I suppose, so if there was a feature, would you be in the feature again? I know you said you'd have her, but because you've got to go through all of that again.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about that, like what I want. I don't know that I'd want to put myself through that role again, but at the same time, if I had a fantastic script and the right people involved, and I was able to get somebody like Jennifer Connelly involved, I would do it, and I would have it just written in a way that I could also be in it too, in some sense.
So just finally, moving off this, have you got anything, are you working on other projects at the moment, and if so, what are they? Or is there anything you're looking at the moment?
Right.
Are you still dancing, by the way? Is that completely gone?
Yes,
You are,
I am.
Okay, right.
I still dance, but I'm not seeking professional dance work like I used to as much.
Right.
I still dance just because I love it and it keeps me in shape.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course.
But I've noticed as I am getting more and more into this world, it's become apparent that I have to pick one or the other because it's so hard to, the networking and everything. It requires so much of yourself that you have to really be focused on one thing at a time.
So, sorry, have you got any? Yeah, so.
As far as any projects, well, right now, honestly, because this is only the second festival I'm in, trying to stay focused on the festival circuit for now.
And it's all about this, of course.
Yeah, I'm trying to just get this film out as much as possible. And I'm auditioning for things back in New York.
A rom-com, that's what you want.
I know, I kind of do want to do something really fun and lighthearted after this. I did do a film about 2 months ago that's coming out next month. It's more of a sci-fi film.
Right, cool.
It's a short as well, but that's kind of the genre I eventually want to go into anyway. I love sci-fi and anything related to Walking Dead, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like all that.
Yeah.
Because we often talk about this with filmmakers, and I say in virtually every interview, and it's kind of like an addiction once you get into it, I guess. But then I guess so dance must be as well, so it's like a performing art, isn't it? So it must be difficult to, clearly you really love doing this, hence the reason that you're basically going to make the decision, I guess, one day to say, I've got to just do that entirely. But the question is, why now what's the reason that this trumps doing dance? Does that make sense?
Well, I danced my whole life and went to college for dance. And it wasn't until one of my last jobs as a dancer, actually I was in Europe doing a tour in Holland and Belgium. And the director on that show he just encouraged me to pursue acting.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, because at that point I started to realize I had a career as a dancer, but I didn't know how much longer it was going to last. And not only that, but not just because of the shelf life of a dancer, but
there's a physicality to it. It's like being a footballer or anything.
Right.
I get what you mean. When you talk about shelf, we all know that the mind is willing, but eventually the body, it's going to change, isn't it? So
yeah, and it was. I wouldn't have done it any other way because dance. The physicality of my dance, all that dance background actually helped with this role.
Yeah.
Because one of the best feedback I've gotten from this film is the physicality and the fact that there's so little dialogue and it's all through the body. And I think that dancers understand that because communication is all through the body anyway.
Because it is very lean dialogue-wise. In fact, he almost says more than her. I'm sure he doesn't, but
he does. I think he does actually.
I can't remember. I know it's very lean. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's okay. So, I still love to dance, but that world is very specific, just like the film world is. And I looked at my career when I started. I wanted to be just a Broadway dancer. That was my goal. Film wasn't anywhere near that, that world for me. But I kind of realized that musical theater world, I wasn't much of a singer. That wasn't my strength. I could get by, but as soon as I started studying acting, that's where I felt
the groove you got into.
I was like, this I love because it just seemed more organic. because my personality is not this big musical theater, I'm going to belt out a song in Central Park kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's not really me, but I love it, I respect it. That's
because your performance is very nuanced in this as well.
And that's the difference. I also like that with film, you know, people can see this all over the world.
Yeah.
Whereas you do a show on Broadway,
you've got to go there.
It's limited, you know, and it may only be open for 6 weeks, you know. So
okay.
yeah.
That's it.
Okay,
Thank you very
so
much. That was wonderful.